4763. If during an ILS approach and IF are conditions, the approach lights are not visible upon arrival at the DH, the pilot is A. Required to immediately execute the missed approach procedure. B. Permitted to continue the approach and descend to the localizer MDA. C. Permitted to continue the approach to the approach threshold of the ILS runway. The correct answer is A. When conducting an ILS approach, the decision height, DH, is a critical point in the approach where the pilot must make a decision to either continue the approach or execute a missed approach. If the approach lights, which are typically visible at or near the DH, are not visible to the pilot, it indicates that the required visual references for landing are not present. In this case, the pilot is required to immediately execute the missed approach procedure as specified in the approach plate. The missed approach procedure ensures the pilot's safe climb away from the runway environment and provides a standard procedure to follow in case the landing cannot be safely executed. 4763-1. How can the pilot determine, for an ILS runway equipped with MALSR, that there may be penetration of the Obstacle Identification Surfaces, OIS, and care should be taken in the visual segment to avoid any obstacles? A. The runway has a visual approach slope indicator, VSR. B. The published visibility for the ILS is no lower than 314 sm. C. The approach chart has a visual descent point, VDP, published. The correct answer is B. The height above landing for straight-in approaches or the height above airport elevation for circling approaches are two variables that affect the visibility indicated on an approach chart. The coverage of the approach light system and the type of approach procedure such as precision, no precise, circling, or straight-in are additional criteria. The penetration of the 34:1 and 20:1 surfaces also influences the lowest visibility. These are inclined planes that are 200 feet from the runway's edge and 10,000 feet away. If the 34:1 surface is penetrated, the published visibility must be less than 3 by 4 sm. If the 20:1 surface is penetrated, the advertised visibility cannot be less than 1 sm, and approaches must be forbidden. 4764. Immediately after passing the final approach fix inbound during an ILS approach and IF are conditions, the glide slope warning flag appears. The pilot is A. Permitted to continue the approach and descend to the DH. B. Permitted to continue the approach and descend to the localizer MDA. C. Required to immediately begin the prescribed missed approach procedure. The correct answer is B. The /LS falls back to a non-precision localizer approach when the glide slope fails. The pilot is allowed to switch to a localizer approach after a glide slope failure, descend to the localizer MDA, and take appropriate steps to avoid them. 4956-2. Why would the required visibility minimums for LNAV/VNAV be higher than that for LNAV alone? A. The location of obstacles along the descent path. B. An LNAV/VNAV procedure always has higher visibility minimums. C. The location of the MAP in relation to the MDA for LNAV procedure requires lower visibility minimums. The correct answer is A. LNAV/VNAV, lateral navigation/vertical navigation, is a type of approach procedure used in aviation that combines both lateral and vertical guidance. It provides lateral navigation guidance, similar to LNAV, as well as vertical guidance to assist with the descent path to the runway. In LNAV/VNAV procedures, the aircraft follows a specific descent path, often defined by a series of waypoints or a glide slope, which is designed to ensure safe clearance from obstacles during the approach. The required visibility minimums for LNAV/VNAV approaches are often higher than those for LNAV alone because the vertical guidance component introduces an additional requirement to maintain a certain descent profile. By incorporating vertical guidance, the aircraft must maintain specific altitudes or vertical rates during the descent to stay on the defined path. If obstacles are present along the descent path, it is crucial to have higher visibility to ensure the pilot can visually identify and avoid these obstacles in order to maintain the required clearance. 4679-1. Which of the following are required for a helicopter ILS approach with a decision height lower than 200 feet HAT? A. Special aircrew training and aircraft certification. B. Both a marker beacon and a radio altimeter. C. ADP helicopter certificate and CATLL certification. The correct answer is A. For a helicopter ILS, instrument landing system, approach with a decision height lower than 200 feet height above touchdown. HAT, special aircrew training and aircraft certification are typically required. ILS approaches with low decision heights involve more precise and demanding flying conditions, which necessitate specialized training for the flight crew. This training ensures that the pilots are proficient in conducting the approach and have the necessary skills to handle the aircraft safely during critical phases of flight. Additionally, the aircraft used for such approaches needs to be certified for ILS operations and meet certain performance criteria. This certification ensures that the aircraft's instruments, systems, and equipment are suitable for conducting ILS approaches with low decision heights.